The Football Association has been heavily criticised after posting a tweet about the England national women's football team who played at Craven Cottage a couple of nights ago. It was a match against Australia, 1-1 it was. The tweet was posted by the Lionesses' official Twitter account, and it featured a photo of the team in their match kit, okay? And the heading was, "Scrub up well, don't they?" Question mark, and a sort of smiling emoji after all of that. Right. Where do we begin? We begin with Natalie Sawyer, talkSPORT presenter.
Hello.
Hello, Natalie. Right, okay. Off you go. What do you think?
What do I think? Well, I think it's an outdated tweet. Didn't have to be tweeted at all in that way. It perhaps isn't the most offensive of tweets, but I just think at a time when you are trying to promote women's football, that is just very well ill thought and, as I say, outdated.
So we were trying to work out, could it ever have been said about men? Look, listen, here's the everyday sexism involved, and I would look at that and I wouldn't think anything. I just think maybe smile, think it's complimentary. But then I hear people like yourself, and I think, no, fair enough. I think that's okay. As you say, maybe not the worst thing to say. But Saira, could you think of a circumstance in which the men's football team, you would put the same caption? Would it mean the same thing?
Well, I just don't. In all your, footballing history,
and knows the answer.
Have you ever heard any commentator say?
But
hold on, let me finish, Eamonn.
Yes.
Say, the England boys scrub up well, don't they?
Maybe when they're boarding a plane wearing their official suits.
I see what you're saying, but when there's a team photo of a men's team, whatever accompanies it is always some rousing words of trying to inspire the nation, inspire the fans.
Boys,
absolutely. Go and get them, guys, or whatever it is that they might write. There's no reference to how they look.
And this is the point. This is an England women's football team.
Do we know if this was written by a woman or a man?
It doesn't matter who. If it was a woman, okay, it doesn't matter who it was written by. The point is, it was written. And, for me, these girls represent skill, talent, day in and day out training, compromise, juggling everything that they have to do. And they don't get paid as much as the men, can I just say that as well? But, all of those things that they could be talked about, it comes down to their clothes and their hair and their makeup. And you know what? I'm sorry, but as a professional woman myself, I'm sick and tired of it.
No, and I completely agree with you. They're not there to be gawped at. They're there to play the game that we all love and for us to marvel at what they did. And what they did against Australia that night was fantastic. They played fantastic football. The result didn't go their way in terms of they didn't get the win. Yeah. They got a draw in the end. But we've come away talking about a tweet that should never have been sent out. We should be talking about how well they performed.
Yeah, or not. We had, funny, I was going past Fulham that night and I suddenly looked and I thought, all these young girls. And I said to my wife, coming out with England scarves and whatever, and I said, isn't it great to see the way you would with your sons going to matches, that you see girls grouping together, 4, 5, 6 of them, at a time, and they all looked happy and everything was lovely. It was just that was the positive side of all of that. So I put out this tweet and I asked, right, what you thought about all of this. Let's get some reaction. Rory McKay, I don't think it's really something to worry about. Life's too short. Groucho Marx says, look, you can suggest sporting people are attractive without offending the entire team. That sort of stuff only goes on for women. Therefore, this is sexist. Tom Doherty says, for me, it's complimentary to the young ladies and make no apology for calling them that.
William Barnes says, sexist, no. Unnecessary, yes.
Fair enough. Well, yes. Yeah.
Well, it depends how you look at the word sexism, isn't it, really? Sexism does include stereotyping, and it's a kind of stereotypical tweet, isn't it? So it is a form of sexism. But as I say, it's not the worst. But I agree, it's unnecessary. Yes, it's just ill thought out.
Yes, I think you summed that up.
Do you know, the thing is, Eamonn, a lot of people who don't understand where people like Natalie and I are coming from is because it's been a cultural. It's been. I was born in the 1970s. To change that culture, it's going to take another 40 years. So we're at the beginning.
Sarah, I think
look how many tweets you've got of saying, "Oh my God, you can't say anything now. Everyone's going to be offended." It's like, actually, you know what? yeah, people are going to be offended.
But you know
and we
what?
live in a culture now where it's like, you can't say that
Sarah,
anymore, mate.
I think
you
not.
can't say you're going to go to the
Sarah,
local you-know-what shop because it's wrong.
I think if it is pointed out now to people, you do see it's unnecessary, as Natalie says, or it's wrong, or we just talk about how well they played or whatever. So,
I disagree. I think when you point it out, you are made to feel like you're too sensitive. You're too like, oh, mollycoddly. You're a snowflake. You're this. I don't think that's. I think people get abused if you say, I'm sorry, but I don't really like that tone.
My feeling is people want the England football team to do well, the international football teams to do well, the women's game to do well. I think there's a lot of positivity about it. I think there's a great thing, the fact that Manchester United have finally recognised they should have a women's team as well. And I always said about this, and I said this, and I sit on the board of the Manchester United Foundation, and I said, you're happy to take my daughter's money to come along here. You're happy for her to buy replica shirts and things, but you're not happy to involve her in this game in any way. And I think that's the difference. I think when we break that ceiling, and I think we're certainly pushing.
We're going the right way.
There's great progress, isn't there, Natalie?
No, absolutely, yeah, and you're right. And a club like Manchester United to not have had a women's team is shocking.
Yeah.
When you see all the other teams that there are out there now, so it's great to hear that they are now coming on board and deciding to do that. But it shouldn't have taken up until this point for that to have happened.
They were behind the curve.
Very much. A team like Manchester United, you wouldn't expect that to have been the case. But yes, at least they're actually getting around to doing it, which is a positive.
So where do you two stand on being given a compliment about the way you look in a sporting sense? So you're in your gym gear or whatever. And
that doesn't happen very often, Eamonn.
Well, I'm in my gym gear. You have to come off the ice.
So I mean, does it help when someone... Look, I mean, it's different because I'm not a woman. I'm not in a woman's skin. I'm only saying to you, from a man's point of view, someone said, nice butt, Eamonn, which is highly unlikely to happen. You might think, right, fine. But we all know the sexism that goes with that, the awfulness that goes with these things as well. So I think what you were saying is, a lot of people on social media saying, what do we do now? What is the instruction now? Say nothing?
Do you know what? I'm sorry, but it's just your common sense. Why do you have to feel like you've got to give somebody that you don't know, that you completely don't know, a compliment about their bottom or whatever? Do you know what? If somebody said to me, Sarah, I really love your dress, I have no problem with that. If somebody says, Sarah, I think you've got a great bottom, I'm sorry, that's a bit too close to the bone. But
can I say something, Sarah?
Compliment me on my hair. Love your hair.
Sarah,
love your earrings.
You are going to appear. She's on Dancing on Ice, right?
Yes, how exciting.
She's one of the contestants there.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, you're going to go out there in these dazzling costumes and you're going to be performing there as an athlete.
Yes.
On ice with millions of people on television watching you every week.
Yes.
So is that going to put you under pressure from an appearance point of view? Not a performance point of view, but an appearance point of view.
Well, look, I know 100% that my figure is going to change. I've had one lesson today, and I know that my body as it is, I've got to do exercises, it's going to shape, it's going to get toned up because I'm doing 2 lots of exercises now. I do my regular exercise. Now I've got to do this kind of skating stuff. So I think if people say to me, Sarah, my goodness, your figure looks fantastic, I will take that as a compliment because it's down to the sport that I'm doing. It's not a problem. But just walking around randomly in the street and a bloke goes... Nice pair of...
But what about
Sorry,
saying...
not appropriate.
What about saying that you brush up well, say for your performance?
No, I don't accept brush up well.
Right.
I just go, she looks fantastic on the ice, a great performance, Saira. Obviously put a lot of hard and effort into it. You look brilliant, great.
Well, it's a bit like when I was on the telly, and obviously I've worked at Sky for a long time, was presenting on Sky Sports News for a very long time. Yeah. You get a lot of tweets, obviously. A lot of the tweets were about how I looked.
Yes.
And I never knew how to respond to them. Often I didn't, because I would be like, well, that's all very well, in a way, thank you. But equally, what about what I actually do? Isn't that more important?
But you are very good at what you do, and I listen to you at night on talkSPORT, and you are very good, right? So the thing is,
that's very kind.
But it doesn't come into me. Matter of fact, I think you get to show much more of who you are on talk radio.
I completely agree with that.
Than you did on Sky Sport. But, however, there are an awful lot of women who are television presenters who every day post how attractive they look and what they do and what dress they're wearing. right?
Yes.
Now,
I have an issue with that.
Right, well, tell me your issue with that.
I don't understand people that do regularly post stuff, whether
day.
It's what they're wearing or whether in the gym. It's
endorsements.
It's endorsements, but it's also
they
want
endorsements.
Some sort of gratification. They want people to be
say
saying how
you're beautiful, you're pretty.
And I don't understand that. But that comes down to the individual and do they have some confidence
and
issues?
some of these are really good journalists, really good presenters, whatever. And I think to myself, but you're really demeaning yourself a bit, in my view. I wouldn't come on and say, "Hi, I'm Eamonn. Aren't I pretty today? Aren't I attractive? Whatever." And I just think, can you have it both ways?
Well, I think if you look at some women that do it, they always do it looking fantastic. So I might post sometimes, I've just, because I've got a skincare brand. This is but I will post pictures of me looking rough, like I've just done a run, no makeup or whatever.
We're talking about people who say are news presenters or sports presenters and maybe need a certain amount. They want to be taken equally. They want to have that credibility, whatever. Look, do you know what? I look at sports presenters like you and Gabby Logan and whatever, and I think there's nobody better. The standard is so good.
Yeah,
I mean, Sarah will know that. I always look at people and say, I don't care if they're man, woman, black, white, whatever
talent,
gender,
skill,
whatever it is. Are they any good or not? Because believe me, Natalie, compared to the people who aren't very good, they stand out a mile. There's too many people who are just ordinary, and the good people, I think, to stand out.
But the thing is, I think our culture towards women kind of force some women to go after the vanity in order for their skill to be recognised later.
But
do you know what I mean by that, Natalie?
Absolutely.
It's like you've got to
It's
push.
more important what you look like first. And no, I do understand that completely.
And it's wrong.
It is wrong, and maybe that's a cultural thing, as you said. Going back in time, we've always felt like we've needed to impress. First of all, how we look, and then your skill hopefully shines through after that. But yes, I do find it sad that there are a lot of women that feel the need to post pictures of themselves in the hope of getting attention. But again, that comes down to that individual and what's going on in their lives, I suppose.
Well, it is a very interesting chat, but I feel positive about women's football because I think it is getting recognition and credibility. And even just look at the panels on BT Sport or Sky or whatever, and you've got women now as panellists there as well. Fantastic. Not only just as reporters and presenters or whatever, but also commentating, giving their opinion on the game. Pundits is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, which is brilliant, and they have every reason to be on there. They've played the game. They know what they're talking about. And some of them, I have to say, very good and talk a lot more sense than some of the gents that have been on there for a long time.
I totally get that because I put myself in the same position and I say to myself, I feel every kick of a ball. I know how it feels like to pass, kick, shoot, couldn't do any of it. But, even when I was a kid, I couldn't do any of it. It was all right. But, the point is, I never played football to any representative level or whatever. Yet I feel people say to me, Eamonn, what do you think of that match? So I have no issue with a woman talking about that game because she will think it just the way I do and feel it and have an opinion about it and be passionate about it as well. But we all love football in whatever form it comes with. And I think it's good.